Today's episode is going to be all about farming. And I don't mean little puny farms that barely get you by. I'm talking farms that have no business being as big as they are. For example, I want to quadruple the size of my mob farm, and I want to multiply the size of this thing by 9. Basically, I want to non-tuple this thing. Is non-tuple even a word? But you get the idea. This thing is going to be massive. The first thing I want to work on today is creating 3 more of these bad boys. That way we can hopefully be getting bones at 4 times the efficiency as we were before. And hopefully we can get the floor of my tower done somewhat quickly. Because as of right now, it's just going to take way too long to get that many bones. And basically all we need for one of these bad boys is a lot of stone and a little bit of redstone. So hopefully it shouldn't be too bad. First thing I got to do is smelt up a bunch of cobblestone because I have nowhere near enough stone to even build half of one of these things. So while that's doing that, I'm going to gather together all of the redstone components I need to actually build 3 of these towers. All this thing needs redstone wise is 10 observers, 10 dispensers, 18 repeaters, 1 comparator, and 2 pieces of redstone. So it's extremely cheap. I've managed to gather together all the redstone we will need to build these 3 systems, but unfortunately I have run completely out of redstone dust. I legitimately have 9 left, which unfortunately means I gotta go mining for redstone. Which is honestly super frustrating to have to go and mine, because redstone's just one of those things that you kind of expect to get and expect to have, but then you just like run out. And then you have to go mine for like 20 minutes to get enough. I mean, I guess this could be worse because I do have to get stone anyways. But, you know, it's not exactly ideal. I always forget how easy redstone is to get. I mean, I spent as long mining as I did complaining. And I got almost 5 stacks of redstone. I mean, that was probably 5 minutes worth of mining. Anyways, I should now have all the resources I need to start get cracking on building these things. Oh, and have I mentioned that I love the super smelter? First things first, I'm going to remove this weird second ring that I have going around the outside. I don't know why I didn't. What? Whoa, what the? A creeper just blew up on my hoppers. All right, I'm gonna have to break this redstone circuit while I'm actually working on this so that no mobs spawn, because I do not want creepers blowing up my farm while I'm trying to do this. Anyways, as I was saying, I need to get rid of this ring that I, for some reason, left on this original build. Now that that's out of the way, I'm basically just going to make 3 more of these platforms, 1 here, 1 in that corner, and 1 on that side. I finished up building the additional platforms, and I can already tell just from looking at this, that this thing is going to look insane. This thing has already used about 15 stacks of stone, so I already know I don't have enough stone to build up the rest of these. So I'm probably just going to have to go speed mining down somewhere to get a crap ton of stone. But before I do that, I need to cover this thing in water so mobs don't start spawning while I'm trying to build these up. Water's in place, and now we can finally start to build up the actual mob spawning platforms. And I should now have enough stone to build up all 4 of these bad boys. So, I mean, if you didn't already see it coming, then you're not a true LaneyBoy fan. It's time for a time lapse. And just like that, we have finished all 4 of these towers, and it just looks menacing. It looks so incredible. I mean, the one by itself looked cool, but 4 of them? It just makes it look 10 times better. I mean, standing in the middle of this thing, it looks wacky. So now all that's left to do for this thing is to put water in each of the dispensers going up each tower, because I haven't done that yet, and to build up this top roof that's going to be covering all 4 of these, and then to set up the timer on each of the towers that's going to be controlling when the water disperses from the dispensers and then gets sucked back in so that mobs can spawn. And as you can see, the top has now been completed, and I've got to say, this thing looks daunting. I mean, just look at this mob spawner. Oh my goodness, I'm so proud of this. The very last thing I gotta do now is to set up these little killing chambers on each one. And ladies and gentlemen, that should be this thing 100% fully completed. This took a lot longer than I thought it would. I honestly thought it would take me probably 2 or 3 hours to complete, but it ended up being more like 6 or 7, just because of the pure amount of resources I had to gather to be able to build this thing up. It took a lot longer than I thought it would. All we've got left to do is to put in all of the repeaters on top of these observers, which will allow the mobs to spawn. and then put in the redstone torches on the open spot right here, which will turn on the clock, allowing this thing to be 100% fully functional, working on all cylinders. Oh my goodness. Oh man, this is a beautiful sight here, ladies and gentlemen. Just out of pure curiosity, I want to sit up here for about 15 minutes and see how many stacks of bones we can manage to get. After about 15 minutes of this thing running, we managed to get about 15¼ stacks of bones. So this thing makes roughly a stack of bones a minute. That is a crazy number. It's really fun making farms whose entire purpose is just to get you a ridiculous, pretty much unusable amount of resources. I mean, there's just something about it that's just it's so amazing. Now that that's all done and dusted, it's time to finally start working on non-tuppling this thing. During my last stream, I gathered together what I believe is to be everything that we need to actually build this thing up as big as I'm wanting it to be. Which, by the way, is 14 stacks of observers, 14 stacks of pistons, 14 stacks of redstone, 14 stacks of sea lanterns, 14 stacks of dirt, and just about as much glass as I could gather. And when I say that took me a long time to get, I mean it took me the entirety of about a 4-hour stream to gather all that stuff together. It was a mess. Ah! And I'm not even gonna say it this time, you already know what's gonna happen. I've just realized that I already made a mistake and I built these pistons one too far back. Why am I always a mess when it comes to making this freaking farm? So it's been about an hour and I've managed to get these 2 sections up on either side of the original one that I had standing up here. And I've got to say, it is starting to look really good, but I completely underestimated how much glass this thing would use. I mean, I'm already out of glass. As you can see, I have no more glass. And I still have to build 6 more of these things. So I probably need, what, 3 double chests of glass? All I've got to say is that I'm extremely glad a couple episodes ago I decided to go out and get a lot of sand. Because otherwise, this would be hours and hours of sand gathering, and then more hours of building, and it would just be the worst. But side note, this farm looks incredible from behind. Anyways, now that I've restocked on supplies, it is time to get back to work. And the bulk of this thing should be completely done. I technically only sextupled it. I didn't non-tuple it because I figured if it was another set taller, it'd be a little too big and would create a little bit too much lag on the server. So I think I'm gonna keep it to this size for now. However, there are still a few things I need to go through and finish up, like putting in all the bamboo and figuring out the item transportation system is gonna carry all of the bamboo into one set of chests because I don't wanna have to go to 3 different sets of chests to collect everything. I like it to all just kind of flow down maybe to that end over there with like a row of 10 chests or something like that. But regardless, the coolest view of this thing has to be from the back. I mean, it just looks spectacular, and I missed 2 pieces of dirt, and that's really bothering me. Yeah, you can barely even see my tower from here. Of course, my tower is eventually going to be way up in the sky, but I think this thing being any taller would just be completely impractical, so I think this is a good size. To be completely honest, I'm worried about having enough storage space for all of this because in that hour to 2 hours that it took me to build this entire thing, this one section managed to fill up almost 2 double chests worth, about 2 double chests worth of bamboo. So anytime that I'm here working on this tower, this whole thing is going to be functioning full force. And I think it'll fill up 10 double chests in probably about 30 minutes is my guess. Maybe I can figure out some kind of way to flip it on and off. That way, whenever I don't want it to be running, I can turn it off. And then whenever I need bamboo, I can just flip it back on. But that's for another day because, well, I've used a lot of redstone today and I'm kind of tired of it. Okay, so I think I figured out how this transportation system is going to work. Basically, each section will push bamboo down into its own water stream, which will then flow down. And hopefully if we get some fresh bamboo coming in here pretty soon, they'll flow down into the main water stream kind of down here below. And that'll get carried all the way to the end. And we can have like a line of hoppers and chests all the way down there just collecting everything. And then eventually, once I have my storage system set up inside of my tower, I can have just water elevators take the items down, over under my base, and up into my storage system. So don't worry, this little kind of ghetto looking one that I'm going to set up over here is just temporary. It's not permanent, I promise. Storage system now complete. Last thing I need to do is just put in all the bamboo, and this bamboo farm will be 100% fully functional, baby. All the bamboo has successfully been placed, and this farm is now 100% fully functional and getting us way more bamboo than we'll ever need. Anyways, I think this is going to be a great spot to end today's episode. If you did enjoy the video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. It would be greatly appreciated. And if you have any ideas, as always, leave them down in the comments, and I just might pick yours and build it. Anyways, I will see you guys next time. Peace out.